welcome to today's video. As we are going to actually look back at patch 14.13 once more. If you can tell by the title, I messed up. The 14.13 video in Hindsight actually had the 14.14 champions on it. I realized as I started doing the 14.14 video, well, not video, but the research for it yesterday, that the 14.13 video, I had the 14-14 champions, which would make sense why 14-13 would be determined as unsuccessful, because actually the champions that were affected were not accurate. So on here, we have eight champions on here that saw at least a 10% change in presence on the patch. And we're going to go over it. 14-13, I mean, that happened a couple months ago, or a month and a half ago or so, but, for clarity's sake, I don't like having an inaccurate video on the channel. I'm going to leave it up, but it is not 100% accurate. There are parts of it that I want to keep, but that's why it'll stay. So the only buff that actually buffed a champion's presence was Misfortune. Misfortune had no presence on 14-12 in 94 games, and then rose to 39% presence in 14-13, so that's quite a big jump, right? 0 to 40 is a big difference. And now, as far as the nerfs are concerned, Brand was nerfed, but it didn't make a difference, as he went from 11% presence and still went to 53% presence. We still see a carry-oriented jungle meta, and Brand has been affected more than once in the last few patches, trying to limit his impact, and it just hasn't really worked. Callista ADC went from 64% presence to 27%, so 37% difference. So what, 1 in 3 out of every 5 games, 2 out of every 3 to 1 out of every 4. That's a big difference, big chunk. Karthus was nerfed, went from 20% presence to 8%, so cut in half. Kennen, despite being nerfed, still rose in priority from 3% presence, so barely a fringe option, to 30% pick rate. So you could say meta at that point, or at least within the box of champions to be discussed in draft. Skarner, heavily nerfed. The nerf was very effective. Went from 9% presence to 1. That's a big difference. I mean, I don't need to explain that much more than that. Very effective nerf. He has been buffed on 14-16. Talia, 65% presence in the jungle and mid lane to 19%, so 46% drop. 2 out of every 3 games to 1 out of every 5. That is the biggest difference on the board. A very, outside of Skarner, I guess. So the second biggest difference on the board, so it was effective. Varus also adjusted, but went down as a nerf. 32% presence to 15, so cut in half. Which I say is significant. Some people believe that, it's not a matter of stats as much as it's a matter of how I feel. And I'm not big on the how I feel sort of thing when it comes to how the meta looks. It's more so numbers, what's being banned, what's being picked, what's being not touched at all. There is there's something to be said for I feel a certain way, but we're not about feelings on this channel, really. So, number-wise, these champions were affected by that patch. I will now title this video, I messed up, but I do believe this patch did make a difference. If you watch the first video I did on 14-13, I include the top 10 champions in presence like I do on every video, and it did change. 4 were swapped out for each other. So 40% difference in the top 10 champions is in my opinion, a significant change. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.